cutting payments, aid payments, to El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras over the fact that those countries have been unable to contain the flood of migrants heading through Mexico to our southern border. So yesterday we talked about potentially shutting down the southern border. 2 days ago. Excuse me. No, that's yesterday. Weekend is just 2 days.
2 days.
But yesterday we also heard that this is a big move. This is one of the few punitive measures the executive branch has still to these countries to say, get it under control. We've been giving you aid for decades. We want your societies to be better, your economies to be better, because right now there's a huge magnetic pull to our southern border. That's going to be, we'll see if that leads to any changes in policy in those countries.
Yeah, President Trump wasting no time with those tweets coming in strong, saying Mexico must use its very strong immigration laws to stop the many thousands of people trying to get into the USA. Our detention areas are maxed out, and we will take no more illegals. Next step is to close the border. This will also help us with stopping the drug flow from Mexico. So it seems to me that he's standing tall on this issue. He's not backing down. I don't blame him, and I know a lot of folks came out and said, you know what, closing down the border, this is extreme. You know what, when you have one side that's refusing to cooperate with you, and you have put every sort of compromise on the table, and you have been willing to negotiate, and they're not willing to even acknowledge that there's a crisis, I really don't know what recourse he has left.
Yeah, it might take drastic measures. You have even a former top Obama official saying...
Yes, Fox News are still stupid. Yes, they did put up a graphic claiming that Trump is cutting aid to 3 Mexican countries. That was dumb. But what isn't dumb is Trump cutting off aid to 3 Latin American countries that will not stop the flow of migrants. They deserve to lose this aid. And it's not just that they won't stop the flow of migrants, it's actually a particular organization that is organising these, and naturally they're funded by the Open Society Foundation, so there's some good Soros money behind there. But I mean, on that note, like, the lefties always go, oh, everyone's funded by the Koch brothers, or the Koch brothers, however you pronounce it. Like Dave Rubin getting Koch brother money and all this sort of stuff, and everyone's funded by the Koch brothers in the same way that everyone on the left is funded by George Soros. I'm not, unfortunately. Unfortunately for you guys, I'm funded by you, so I literally have no other masters. So no, that's good for you. But I'm not going to change that. I like it this way. I like the fact that I'm with you guys. I'm not different to you guys. But anyway, it is very good that Trump is actually taking serious and, I mean, like, tangible actions to get the migrants going to the United States under control. Because if people keep leaving these other countries, nothing will ever improve. And that's entirely the point, isn't it? If the best and brightest from these countries, and you say, well, they're hardly the best and brightest, well, you say that, but like, the really poor people can't actually afford to come. And so it is people with means, and it's the same with the Syrian refugee crisis. It was young men of means who were coming, not wealthy men, obviously, but like people who were not the absolute lowest of the low, because they could afford various, boat trips to wherever and all this sort of stuff. They can actually afford to pay the people smugglers to get them across, because these things aren't cheap, obviously, and they're certainly not safe. And as we know, something like 80% of women who make the journey end up getting raped. God knows what happens to the kids, and God knows how many people are killed along the way, but we don't know. God knows how many people are actually being trafficked, how many drugs and guns are coming. Who knows? I mean, I'm sure I could have looked this up, actually, but it's going to be a significant amount, isn't it? Let's be honest. Let's not just try and fool ourselves over this. So the whole point is that Trump is trying to get things done. Now, he hasn't got the border wall funded because, obviously, the Democratic-controlled, so the Congress that they control is dead set against it. They've decided this is a red line. Putting up a wall on the border is a red line for some reason, which just makes me think that they want immigration, like illegal immigration. And obviously, when you get to like defunding of ICE, well, what else are you saying? You're saying that anyone in the world should be able to come to your country and take advantage. Because fuck you, that's why. Fuck you, you're a taxpayer, get fucked. Don't even care. Your opinion on this is not important. I saw Red Cortez tweeted out a video claiming that illegal immigrants pay millions and millions in taxes, so billions in taxes. So how do they do that? They have to do it illegally, surely, by stealing someone else's identity and paying on that? Like, how can illegal immigrants pay taxes? And do you think the incentive is really there for them to pay taxes? And if they're prepared to pay taxes, why don't they become citizens? Why don't they follow some sort of path to citizenship? Say, hey, look, I'm interested in coming to your country. I would like to actually pay some taxes. I'd like to do everything above board. Surely there's something we can work out here. Or you can just continue paying taxes illegally. So, you know, you can just be all kinds of criminal. You criminally entered the country. You're criminally stealing someone's identity, committed identity fraud to pay taxes, all because you can't follow the laws of the land. You feel entitled to live in someone else's country, which I just want to say you're not. And you should be back in your home country making that great, because you being in someone else's country is not good for the country you came from, is it? You're going to be it's going to be noticeable when thousands and thousands and thousands of like educated or upwardly mobile, enterprising people who are prepared to like make risky journeys and things like that end up just going missing from a country. Do you think these energetic types might be useful? You know, for your own friends and family in the place that you come from, and don't you love the land you're in? I mean, I suppose if your country's shithole, you probably don't. But I mean, who makes it a shithole? Probably America, probably white people. It's everyone else's fault but your own, isn't it? But anyway, no, it's a very good idea that Trump does something to cut down on these countries actually facilitating people coming, because, you know, Guatemala, Mexico, Honduras, they could have the nations themselves could have prevented these caravans from actually arriving at the Mexico-US border, but they don't. In many ways, they hurry them along and wish them Godspeed. I hope you managed to break into someone else's country like you broke into ours. And they did, indeed. And these caravans are organised. The particular ones that were last year a very big cause of concern. Thousands and thousands, something like 20,000 people or something in total in these caravans. There's a series of caravans. And they're organised by a group that is Soros-backed called Towns Without Borders, or People Without Borders. There we go. People who literally don't believe in the right for the US to maintain its own borders and will actually organize caravans to try and force their way in, which is unbelievable. So no wonder Trump's like, look, we are going to stop giving you money if you allow this to happen. But I mean, maybe he could go the other way. Maybe we could say, well, look, if you stop them, we'll give you a little bit more. I mean, it's probably worth it for the Americans in the long run if they can get, you know, pay a few extra million or however much a year and get them to actually stop the incessant flow of illegal immigrants. Because America's got something like 11 or 12 million illegals in it, which is, I mean, there are countries in Europe that don't have that many people, full stop. So it's one of those things where it's like, look, you guys have got to get this under control. It's not fair on the American taxpayer. It's not fair. It's not fair that they have people from another culture coming in and taking advantage of their country. It's not fair. And you're doing that for your own personal benefit. And unbelievable amounts of money are sent back, like in my country, billions are sent back to Eastern Europe every year. It's like, and these aren't even illegal immigrants. It's just money leaving the country because why the fuck not? You know, it's good for them. So great. Great for us, I guess. But again, it's one of those things that the US, you don't have to pay these people money if they're going to effectively undermine your country. You should, and Trump is doing exactly the right thing. And as Fox said, he's running out of options. He can't get the border wall built, so he's going to cut off their aid, and if it comes to it, shut the border. And man, people are going to lose their shit then, because billions in trade obviously goes across that border, and people will notice. They're definitely going to notice if the US-Mexico border closes. So it's one of those things where it's like, well, get your houses in order. Your countries will never get better as long as you allow this to happen. You know they're not supposed to be doing this. You know the United States doesn't want this, even if there are factions in the United States that do want this. And the president of the US is actually going to take action against it. So get your shit together. It's, again, I have to keep saying this, it's just not fair. You're not doing it, I mean, it's illegal for a start, so get it together, follow the rule of law, think about the effect that it has on the people in the country that you're going to. You know, I mean, seriously, I wouldn't, if millions of British people were, like, invading France or something, I'd be like, what are you doing? You forgot your bows. No. I would obviously be like, look, what are you doing? The people who live there don't want you just moving there, and you're just going there because they're richer or whatever. That's totally selfish and totally unjustifiable. You can't sit there and think it's justified to break the laws of another country by sneaking into the country and taking advantage of the social services, the roads, the economy, the things they have there, and think that's totally justified because you benefit from it. It's unreal that anyone thinks this. I mean, it's so selfish and it's unsustainable. So good on Trump for cutting aid to the 3 Mexican countries. And if he has to close the border, well, he has to close the border. Stop trying to illegally get into the United States or any other country. Do it by the book, because otherwise you're a criminal.